Yes, today I'm talking with author and pastor Holly Wagner. Thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.
So you started a church, Oasis Church in LA, with your husband.
Yeah.
You pastor that together. Did you always want to be a pastor when you were growing up?
Well, let's see. So Philip and I have been pastoring for 31 years.
Oh, wow.
And a long time. Started when we were 12. Just kidding. Let's see.
Long time.
Yeah. Well, actually, when I moved rewind. In grade 4, I remember telling my parents, when I grow up, I'm going to be an actress or a medical missionary. Isn't that funny?
Two different.
Very different perspectives,
things, yeah.
right? So when I was at university, I was pre-med, but a theology major.
Okay.
So just an interesting, so headed to medical school, that was my plan, but a theology major. But my fun thing I did was I acted in plays. So that was like my way of burning off steam or whatever. And so while I was at university, I was in all these plays and enjoying it. And then eventually I went, you know what? This is kind of fun. Let me see what I can do with this. So I transferred to a school that had instead of a great science department, a great theater program. And while I was there, I got cast in a television show that brought me to Los Angeles.
Oh.
So I actually moved to LA. My first job was hosting a talk show where we interviewed celebrities about their animals. It was absolute nonsense. Fun. But that's actually what I did for a few years, even in LA, and was acted at a series, at a bunch of films and commercials and all that. And then it was in there that I met Philip, and then we fell in love and got married, and he was always in ministry. But even the first few years of the church, I was still acting. And, and he appreciated all the residual checks that were helping to fund this ministry.
Exactly.
But then eventually my heart changed, and I really wanted to focus more on helping people than just entertaining them, or at least doing both,
Yeah.
So then I just fully plugged into helping with the church, and I haven't regretted a day of it.
Do you miss the theater sometimes, or?
No, I mean, it's funny because people ask me that, like, would you do something if it came up? And I guess if there was a role that came up that absolutely made sense for me to do, I would do it.
Okay.
But I'm not like pining or longing for it. I just think I want to do things that make an eternal difference. So I'm really enjoying what I'm doing.
Sure. Now, you wear so many different hats. You're a wife, mom, pastor, author. Is there an interest that you haven't pursued but always wanted to?
I don't think so. I feel like I've had the opportunity to do so many things. Most women wear a lot of hats. We're chauffeur, we're chef, we're whatever.
Very true.
We all wear so many hats, and I feel like I've been very just blessed in that I've gotten to try a lot of different things. So whether it's writing books, which honestly I never thought I would do, and the truth is I don't like sitting still for that long, so it's not really an enjoyable process for me.
Sure.
My husband he's a little more of the introvert, and he can sit at his computer and work, and I sit there for like a couple hours. I'm like, I need people.
Let's get going, yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So it's really a labor of love of what I do, and it's not because I love sitting there and writing. But I feel like I've gotten the chance to wear a lot of hats,
That's
and
cool.
then with the mission work we do, I get the chance to travel, and I speak at conferences. So I feel like I'm living my dream.
That's cool. Now I want to talk about your women's conferences. The next one is She Rises.
Right.
What made you want to host these conferences, and what do you hope women get out of them?
When we started the church, I was doing things for women from the beginning, and it just evolved over the years. And then there was one point, probably about maybe 18 or 19 years ago, when I was reading Titus chapter 2, which is, you read through the Bible, you always read, right? So I came to it, and this time it just jumped off the page at me. And basically it says, my paraphrase, older woman, your job is the younger woman. And I remember thinking, awesome. When I get to be 108, I'll be that old woman,
Right.
and I'll help all those young women. And I felt the Spirit of God say to me, is there anybody younger than you on the earth? And obviously there is. He said, well, she's yours. So that changed everything for me. So from then on, I changed the kind of events I created for women, the ministry I created for women, because I realized that my job was to bring a generation of young women through. And in so many places, the model of women's ministry was just outdated and old, and you weren't going to get a young woman in there.
Yeah.
And so I changed everything. So we created a ministry called God Chicks, which is what started, a lot of years ago. And then that just kind of evolved over the years, and these events, and sure enough, we were getting young women through, and they were fun and crazy, and I think God's good with that, like the fun and the crazy and the deeply spiritual all in one meeting.
Exactly.
And about 12 years ago, we created a conference, a 2-day conference, and that's just kind of grown over the years from, hundreds to thousands. And this last year, we had it at, I just felt like it was time to we've always had to rent a different venue because it outgrew our own church building, but I felt like it was time to take it into a venue that actually made a statement.
Sure.
Los Angeles is the #1 pornography producing capital in the United States. And in Los Angeles, more women are valued for how they look and their appearance, just because of the industries that would be there.
Sure.
And so I thought, I want to place a conference that puts value on the woman and is inspiring to her and will teach her to make a difference in the world, which is the heartbeat of the conference. I thought, okay, I want to place that conference in the most iconic venue in Los Angeles. And so we hosted God Chicks this last year in the Dolby Theater, which is where they have the Academy Awards.
Wow.
And there's never been a Christian event in that venue, ever. So on that stage where those gold statues are honored, we honor Jesus. On that stage where acceptance speeches are given, we taught the Word of God for the first time ever. And it was, thousands of women in there worshiping God. It was the first time worship had been sung in there. It was so awesome and exciting. So that was kind of us taking some ground in our city. And for me, that's really been the heartbeat of what we do for women, is place value on the woman. I think if every woman understood her worth and her value, she would live very differently, make different decisions, and the choices she makes and who she marries. And so it's about placing value on the woman and then teaching her to actually make a difference. Some of the old, perhaps wineskins, if you will, the old model of women's ministry was, heal me, feel me, touch me, bless me. It was all in. And I think this new model is, yes, you need to be healed in, but you actually are equipped to go out and make a difference.
Sure.
So that's kind of what God Chicks has been about. And this last year, I just felt like since we were taking ground, we were also going to rename it. So God Chicks is kind of the parent company, but She Rises is the conference name. And that comes from that, Proverbs 31, which says, she rises while it is yet night, which I hated that verse.
Really?
Because, no, I sleep while it is night. Come on.
Yeah. That doesn't happen.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
But it doesn't have as much to do with the time of day.
Cool.
It's more like when disaster and heartbreak are around, she rises.
That's really cool. Now, can you share a quote or a Bible verse with us that really helps you get through life?
Well, that honestly changes from, just so you know, from week to week.
Yeah.
But the She Rises one, the She Rises while it is yet night, I think that's been really foundational for me. And I even have it tattooed right there.
Oh, wow. Nice.
It's been, foundational for me, for being that woman who, when disaster and poverty and disease and famine and heartbreak are all around, she rises. She's not wilting, she's not complaining, she's not judging, she's rising. And so I think that's probably been, just in the last few years anyway, sort of the heartbeat, the message for me.
That's really cool. Well, thank you so much
Thanks
for
for having
talking with me. And thank you guys for watching. If you want to learn more about Holly or She Rises Conference, go to her website at godchicks.com and make sure you like our videos and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you next time.